All right, piece of history for Van Halen history. Thanks to my buddy Greg Renoff. Back in the 70s, Van Halen played a Battle of the Bands here at the Playhouse against a band called Uncle Sam. And Uncle Sam worked out a deal where they'd have a professional drummer come in the middle, a friend of theirs, and play drums on a song. And he did a drum solo. And because of that drum solo, they ended up winning. Uncle Sam ended up winning. And all the Van Halen fans went nuts. They were like, no. And there was a big battle, and here at the Sierra Madre Playhouse. So that's a really old story back from the 70s that Greg uncovered in his book, Van Halen Rising. So check that out. We're back for the Van Halen Trail 2025, right here at the Allen Villa scrapings that the Van Halens did in the concrete. And then you have, of course, this over here. Somebody put some flowers for his birthday a couple days ago. Bree Learin. I don't know who Robert is. There's another attempt at Van something. It didn't work out. Or it might have been replaced. 1978. A less famous Van Halen. Obviously done when it wasn't green. All right, one of the unknown houses of the Van Halen family. This is a 3350 Calvert in Noel Monk's books, in his address books. He had Jan Van Halen here at this residence, 3350 Calvert. And so nobody's vlogged this, but you can see this would obviously have been a house they bought their parents later. It's a pretty large home, actually, nestled up in the woods in Eaton Canyon, right where the fires have been, really close. So it has survived, and it's part of the Van Halen history here at 3350 Calvert. So there you go. The Van Halen's house, I think they bought their parents after they moved them out of Los Lunas. Now, the documentation shows that they left Los Lunas or sold it in '87. So they might have moved them up here before and kept the other house. I know they did to '84, or they were there in '84, because I have friends that were there in '84 at Los Lunas. But they had this house as well. And I think this house is the photos that Alex shows in his book. They're from this house here at Calvert, because Eddie also was addressed here at different times in different documentation. So this is the second house in the Pasadena area that the Van Halens had. They also had a house, the original house on Oakland Avenue, so we'll go to that. I did reference that in last year's Van Halen Trail as well, so you can check that out, but I'm going to go there today as well, and we'll get that one too. So that's 3 houses in Pasadena area that they lived in, and there might have been a 4th. I haven't been able to find that one yet, but here you go, 3350. All right, behind me, I've vlogged before, but it's 486 Oakland Avenue South. This is the original home that the Van Halens settled into when they initially came over from the Netherlands, I think around 62, and then they ended up in Los Lunas in around 66. This was the first house that I know of for sure. Alex Van Halen confirmed it in his book that he just put out at 486. This is a multi-family house, so when they were here there were 3 families, and then like I said, they went over to Los Lunas. I want to say they got here in 62, and then there was some time where they were staying with family, and then they ended up here at Oakland Avenue, and then in around, I want to say 66, they ended up at Los Lunas, and then up at Calvert with his family after '87. This is 1940 Maiden Lane. This is where the Van Halens practiced, in this garage. It has survived the fire here on Maiden Lane, which a lot of houses have not, but it's still here, thankfully, and it's looking good. Well, I'm back, Van Halen Trail 2025. Today, back at Bradford Street, Mr. Ross' house again. And gates open. Back in that back garage. They used to have somebody living there for a while that he did all the recordings at the concerts, I heard, through 2 tracks. Some of those Zlozower shots were shot right behind me on that little walkway. Pretty cool stuff. All right, let's get on. We're going to try this other location where Zlozower shot some shots with the motorcycles that I think we might be able to find. All right, we're here at 799 Bradford, down the street from Ross House. This is where some of the famous Neil Zlozower photos were taken with the motorcycles. Against this wall and canyon. That's it, right there. Pretty cool. That was about, I think, 1980, 79, 80, when those were taken to do some shoots with the motorcycles. So there's a photo of Ed. He's sitting on some rocks that Neil Zlozower took. And we narrowed it down to this rock right here. If you look at that photo, you can see this rock, and you can see these rocks below it. So Darla is going to sit where Eddie Van Halen sat. There it is. That's it. All right, here I am, where Eddie Van Halen sat for these photos for Neil Zlozower when they did the motorcycle photos here along this ridge. This rock right here is the key. These 2 rocks under here, you can see them in the photos. You can see this ridge line with the motorcycles, the Yamahas. I think they're YZ80s or YZ100s from that era, 79, I believe they were. Neil would know for sure what year those were. I think they were 79 though. Dual shock YZs. Pretty cool place right down the road from Ross House. All right, I'm here at the spot of the famous Starwood Club. This is the wall, the entryway. Used to go back in there. It's back this way, but of course it's been changed all now. But back in the 70s, this famous spot for Van Halen for their discovery. Where Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley saw them here at the Starwood Club on Santa Monica. Cars would pull up in here. One of my buddies said he used to be able to pull up in here and keep their car here as just a parking lot for a while, and not everybody could do that apparently. So anyway, this is the location. I'm back here for Van Halen Trail 2025 at the childhood home. Trying to get in this house for years and years to check out the inside. I've been coming to this house for 15 years, roughly, to this address. At 1881 Los Lunas. Pretty cool. Right here, a guitar genius lived here for most of his life from 60, I believe it was 66. His parents got this house 4 years after getting here in 62. So that was 66. And then they lived here, well, at least the house was owned by the Van Halens until 1987. Eugenia sold it in 87. Well, here we are again, 2025, Van Halen Trail up in Coldwater Canyon.
Armed response.
Hopefully Wolfie won't shoot us. There it is. The big old place. It's cool up here.
Yeah.
Where 5150 is here up on the hill. Awesome. Where that big party happened back in the day. Eric Dover, Brian Tishy. Who else did I know came to that party? A bunch of people. 2025 Van Halen Trail, this time with my beautiful wife. We're here to see the mural again. It's awesome to see it.
Seen it.
Yeah, this is our first time. And I saw it in the dark and rain one time so far, and then I think I saw it one day it was pretty clear, but this is the first time I've been around this time of day. It looks great right now. It's really cool. Edward. All right, what you're looking at behind me is Hamilton Park up here in Hastings Ranch. I had heard it got some burn up here, but not in the area of this park. This is a famous park that Van Halen played in back in the day. I think if you look in Alex Van Halen's book, he talks about a story about coming here for an event where they were hired, and then after that, they get here and there's no power, and then they just call it off, And then they come back later and another band's playing has got power, and they get into a melee with the other band, and there starts this big fight up here at Hastings Ranch. But it's a beautiful spot. They've got a baseball field out there, tennis courts over there. It's up in kind of up in the hills. It's pretty cool little spot. But apparently they had a big deal with or a deal with the local recreations and parks, where they would just hire Van Halen for different things, and they would have them all across in the different parks all around town. So anyway, Hamilton Park, rock and roll. The last stop of the Van Halen Trail 2025 here at Victory Park. In Greg's book, you'll see this pictures of Van Halen playing out in a park on the grass. According to my friend Tom Hensley, who I visited with last time here, this is where it was. It's changed a little bit over the years, but this is the area. It's behind, I don't know if you can see it back there, but Pasadena High School is back there. And it was out in this park, which kind of goes all the way around. It's a fairly big park. One of the other parks that they had a lot of their gigs at. Pretty cool. All right, 2025 Van Halen Trail.